Let's look at this tape. And the first question you have to ask yourself if I'm the Denver Broncos fan is who is the guy? Who's the guy on this team? Because Cortland Sutton right now is the best receiver they have. They're trying to get Jerry Jeudy involved. Okay, so they're putting him in the backfield. I think this is maybe the first play of the game. They do this a couple more times. They're trying to find some mismatches. They're trying to find some opportunities. They're going to run Texas route off this a little bit later on. So they're moving him around. Then you see the bottom of the screen. This is the guy. I mean, look how he comes in here and just waylays Eric Reed to open up this lane. So they've got guys playing hard. And what I'll say is they've got dudes blocking in the running game. Cortland Sutton's not the only one in block. Jerry Jeudy's blocking in the running game. These guys are putting in work. You start watching this stuff, you realize they're just not that talented. They don't have like a dog at running back. Their offensive line is okay. They're not great. I think they brought in Mike McGlinchey from San Francisco. I'm going to show you a couple of clips that maybe suggest that he's a good matchup that we like against Rashawn Gary and company. So they're averaging 4.9 yards a carry. You got to remember they're always behind in all these games. But they can run the ball a little bit. Like 4.9 is not bad. Even with the Russell Wilson padded stats, it's not bad. I said deceiving because when you're down all the time, you see a lot of 5 and 6 man boxes. You get an opportunity to, get some 10-yard bursts and maybe some explosive runs that aren't there. But these guys, I think, just fundamentally are, again, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but like a get-right game. You watch Chris Jones here, and here's what I would say about this offensive line. They do enough single blocking with their scheme that if this could be defensive tackles could have a huge impact on this game. You just see easy release for Chris Jones and play. You look again here, just completely shuts off, wipes 77, makes the play. I think this could be a reason I wanted to show a couple Chris Jones plays. Not only Chris Jones is a defensive player of the year candidate, just like they saw against Max Crosby last week, but this could be one of those Kenny Clark signature games because they do enough single blocks where he's going to get one of these guards, maybe he gets McGlinchey on the tackle on the down block or the drive block to the backside, where you're going to get opportunities to get singled up, and Kenny has to just have a dominant performance because this stuff, like for me, when I see this is all day with Kenny Clark. He should be able to do this all day versus these particular athletes. Other people might make the play, but just a dominant performance. You see here some of the same issues that plagued the Green Bay Packers, plagued the Denver Broncos. Miscommunication here between the two tight ends. They think they're going to combo this up. They go to the wrong guy. So this stuff is happening all across the league. It's not just us. But these are opportunities when you look at how to stop the Denver Broncos. You have to take something away. I think the number one thing you take away is their ability to run the football. I think right now you want Russell Wilson to have to drop back, and we'll show you, what that has kind of devolved into, I think, over the last couple of weeks. But I think this is the number one thing to do is stop that run game. One thing that Sean Payton he's old school, man. He gets it. If your second unit's in other words, if Kenny and Rashawn and if they all go out and you bring in all your backups, they're going to take advantage and they're going to run the rock. They got a lot of really good runs over the last couple of weeks against the second unit. When the second unit's in, and usually the second, so for fans that don't know, first unit starts the drive. If you get a first down, maybe a second first down, they're going to sub out. After 3-4 plays, they're going to sub those guys out. And then you can pretty much guarantee when you get to the plus 40, in other words, when you start getting close to field goal range, they don't want to give up that field goal. Their first unit's going to come back in. So between like the minus 30 and the plus 40, there's a good chance you're going to see the second unit. And when you do, guys like Sean Payton, they're going to run the football down your throat, or they're going to work that deep play action if they think that they have a guy on like a Rashawn Gary who's a real difference maker in the passing game. When he goes out, man, it's time to hold the ball. I would expect the screen game to feature this week. Because I think they're going to like that matchup. I think they're going to like the matchup on their linemen versus our linebackers. I think they're going to like the fact that when you watch this tape, if I'm Preston, if I'm Kenny, if I'm Rashawn Gary, I feel pretty confident I can get some penetration on this offensive line. You see, Russell holds the ball. He doesn't have great vision in the pocket. So what do you have to do with if you're a coach with a quarterback who doesn't have great vision and likes to run, you want to put in design plays like screens. Like if Sean Payton wants to control this offense better, he's going to run screen games, he'll run quick screens. Like he's going to run like predetermined routes, things that you're going to throw fades. He's going to do that because that's A, what Russell's good at, aside from improvising. And B, he can control what's going on. So I'd expect the run game to play heavy this week. Jerry Jeudy made this like really, really listen, this whole thing was weird. Steve Smith's an old teammate of mine. I'm sure everybody saw what happened on the sidelines. It'll be interesting. So after that game, I think he had like three catches. And, Courtland Sutton's clearly the number one here. I mean, statistically, they're similar. Courtland's got 4 touchdowns and to Jeudy's 0. But statistically, they're pretty similar. But I think what the expectation is for Jerry Jeudy, and then coming off that and having to deal with the frustration of not getting the ball as often as he wants, but also having to deal with now, like Steve Smith, everybody knows who he is. And that was all over social media last week. So now you have to deal with this idea that you can't handle criticism, you're not thick-skinned, and blah, 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 and you're dealing with these trade things. There's a lot going on. So this is a really talented guy. And like when you put him in a position like this, where now he's matched up on a linebacker and he runs a Texas route, I mean, this is all you can eat for a guy like Russell Wilson. He can make this throw all day. And again, this is one of those throws when I'm talking about like with Sean Payton. When you they used to do this with Reggie Bush. When you put a really talented guy in a situation where he's going to play against a linebacker, the quarterback, listen, you might not throw it, but read one heavy, hey, first read is this, we're going to this guy. This isn't like pick a side, read it out. This isn't like check out. We want the ball to go to the Texas route unless they do something dramatic that prevents it, because we know that this is a mismatch. Russell Wilson has been historically one of the best deep ball throwers in the National Football League. That ability to connect hasn't changed. He might not be as good at some other things that he used to be, but he can throw, especially when he knows where he's going with the ball. They run a sail 7 here on the bottom of the screen. He can throw this all day long. And when you have vision, in other words, when if you're short and your eyes go downfield and you go to the outside, you all of a sudden have vision. And on plays like this is a predetermined play. He sees the coverage pre-snap, he checks the safety post-snap, and he makes the throw. He knows what's going on. This isn't about making layered reads. This isn't about you don't have to worry about a lot here. And these are the kind of plays that if I'm Sean Payton, I'm going to try to put into the menu of plays that are kind of at the top of the list, right? Things that open up his field of vision, things that force him to make a pre-snap decision and live with it, as opposed to dropping back, as we'll show here in a minute, and kind of running for your life. But Russell Wilson, make no mistake about it, he's not afraid to throw these balls. He can throw these balls. He's had a ton of success throwing these balls. They run under center play action. This is, again, kind of an old school, somewhat antiquated offense. I don't say that. I actually don't even say that disparagingly. I love their offense, but you have to sell the run. You look at the linebacker for Kansas City here. He doesn't buy this at all because all of the linemen are dropping back. Their pad level goes up. Poor fake by Russell Wilson. And obviously everyone has seen this play that he makes a very, very poor read. But, part of this is you're not doing a good job of selling the play action pass. And when your linebacker drops immediately on the snap of the ball because you're not selling it, you're going to put yourself in a position to be unsuccessful. These are the things, if you're studying tape at the linebacker position, whether it's Quay, whether it's Devondre, whether it's Isaiah McDuffie, understand the difference between him handing the ball off and not looks completely different from the end zone copy. I think this is their real game plan, at least going in. I shouldn't say that. I think this is where it's gone off the rails for Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And maybe nowhere more evident than maybe this last weekend against the Chiefs. They're doing a worse version of let Russ cook. They're doing a worse version of in other words, let Russ cook was, I'm going to drop back and I'm going to start looking at the rush almost immediately. If my first read's not open, I'm going to start moving around and make things happen. And this is what it looked like. Now, a lot of that has to do with the protection scheme. A lot of that has to do with the ability of the tackles in particular to not give up pressure because he likes to drop back further. Why? Because he needs to see he's shorter, so you need a better field vision. You need to get back further. That kind of screws up the geometry of the pocket. I think at some times with these tackles, he doesn't really want to step up. But this kind of play where you think he's in their grasp and he ends up making a play to the tight end here for darn near a first down, that's a big deal. The other thing is they've got multiple issues when it comes to protection schemes. You see one of them here is 82 on Chris Jones is an absolute mismatch. And then you got Garrett Bowles with poor technique on the other side. But if you watch this scheme right here, the way you've set this up, you've put yourself in a position, Chris Jones is going to be left defensive end. And they might walk up guys. They might walk up a guy bossed up on the tight end. But McGlinchey doesn't have to block anybody here. And 82 is getting absolutely steamrolled. And it's like, are you kidding me? And you look at the other side, and if I'm Preston, like there's a formula for winning against Garrett Bowles. And it's really simple, right? His first step's wide. He turns on his second. You see that hands out to reach. You bull that outside shoulder with everything you got and make him turn, make him drop that back foot. Russell Wilson likes to get back deep, so he'll have to step up. That changes the timing of his throws. Now, all of a sudden, we're kind of moving around. I mean, it seems impossible that he gets that far back without realizing what's going on and then has to duck at the last minute. But this happens more often than not. This kid can make plays. This man can make plays, though. He can definitely make plays. So you look here. Sometimes you watch some of this stuff and you go, is this a scheme problem? Because, this is 4-on-2, no matter how you look at it. Now, when you're running the keep pass on the goal line, a lot of people are expecting it, obviously. There's a lot of tips and tells from the offensive line, obviously. You can throw the flat ball here. You have a chance to throw the flat and just get out of it. But Russell's going to do Russell things. And while it almost cost him a safety here, he ends up making a really big play and I believe getting the first down. I mean, this is what he's really, really good at. Now, again, on a gotta-have-it fourth down play, they put their tight end against the left defensive end. This is a gotta-have-it moment. And this is what, when you start, everyone wants to do some Russell Wilson bashing or what, if you're the offensive coordinator, and we used to do this with Bubba Franks. I remember one time we go to Tennessee when they have Javon Curse, and Javon's in year 2 or 3 when he was they call he was the freak, and they're they were 74 protection, and Bubba's in the huddle going are you guys kidding me? 74 protection was Tauscher helps with the right guard and then maybe pops out late, but essentially Bubba had to block Javon Curse by himself, and it's what are we doing? That doesn't make any sense. And that's what they're doing here. They're kicking back. 82 is trying to kick back. Luckily, he gets beat early. Luckily for the Broncos, he gets beat so bad early that Russell can escape outside. But this is a 4th-and-have-it play. We got single coverage, double coverage. I mean, 3-man route, and they're running a lot of 3-man routes because they're worried about protection. Okay, so there's not a lot of people in a lot of these route schemes unless you're going to try to get it out early. But all these 5-step, 7-step drops, they're keeping guys in. Running backs in, tight ends in or chipping, right? They're running these 3-man routes. It's a hard life out there. But he doesn't even get rid of the ball. And so that's when you start, is he padding stats? Well, why would you not throw the ball on a 4th down? You certainly are going to give it up here. Looking again, they're in 11 personnel to keep the tight end in. Lynchy gets beat here, and this is what I'm talking about. And I think, quite frankly, I know they've paid this guy a ton of money. I said it last offseason. I didn't know if I loved the free agent transaction here when they did bring him over, just because you watch this guy on tape. When you're that tall, sometimes you can punch too high and you get underneath. Chris Jones beats him badly here. I would imagine with Rashawn Gary this weekend, the leverage he can have, the stiff arm to the club, the chop, going in back inside with the arm over. I would imagine he has a big day with pressures. I don't know how many he'll get because I think Russell Wilson's still pretty elusive, at least in the last couple of weeks. But this is a very beatable right tackle. I mean, it's just too easy. That is just way, way too easy. Got another play action pass under center. And this is what I'm talking about. You've really essentially got a two-man route. I know you got the check down here on the right of the screen, but this is a low probability win because you've got a team that's playing too high, and they're just going to jump both of these routes. You got to really play perfect football here. The timing seems off just based on where the backside cross is on the 38-yard line. It just feels a little bit off from a timing standpoint. Needs to be further over. But these are low probability win plays. And why I'm saying that is it always seems that way with the Russell Wilson team. And so when you're rushing them, if you have lane discipline and you feel like you're able to beat your guy, I just think there's a ton of opportunities to really harass him in the running game. And then it becomes a question of, are we going to spy or not? Because I think this is what he really wants to do, is just get out and kind of maneuver around.